Oh boy, things have just gone from bad to worse in the Democrat Party. David Hogg has just been ousted as DNC vice chair. And this is coming after he kind of floated the idea of primarying safe Democrat seats. And for most of you that know even anything about politics, you know this is a terrible idea because Donald Trump was just elected. The country is wanting to move in a more conservative, common sense direction. David Hogg, though, doesn't think these Democrats who occupy these safe seats are radical enough. So he wanted to spend $20 million primarying these Democrats and replacing them with more radical candidates. And people in the Democrat Party just did not like this. And as soon as he started floating this idea, no sooner did they try to find a way to get rid of David Hogg. And you will never believe the reason they are using to get rid of him. It has to do with his gender, yes, and equity and all of that stuff. It's pretty crazy that the Democrats are still playing this game, but that's what's going on here. But this is breaking news. DNC Vice Chair David Hogg has been ousted from his position after a late-night vote, despite considerable last-minute lobbying from Tim Walz and James Carville. So that's the news. David Hogg has been ousted. And this also comes after David Hogg went on Bill Maher's show, and he talks about how young men just want to get laid and have fun, which is kind of odd. I tend to think young men want to have a purpose in life, and they're not just looking to just get laid and have fun. I think this is why young men swung so radically for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump not only is pro-America, but he is pro having a purpose. He is pro hard work and finding something that is your thing and working hard about it. He talks about hard work a lot, but this is David Hogg on Bill Maher's show, talking about how, you know, these young men, they just want to get laid and have fun. And we did not realize that, which is totally wrong in my opinion, but take a listen.
What I think happened last election is younger men, they would rather vote for somebody who even if they don't completely agree with, they don't feel judged by, than somebody who they do agree with, that they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around constantly because they're going to be judged or ostracized or excommunicated. And what's interesting about this moment is it feels like the two parties in some senses have flipped, where, you know, Republicans used to be the judgmental assholes in many ways. And since many Democrats, despite us, I would say for most of us coming from the right place of wanting to do the right thing, we've created a culture where we say, well, if you say the wrong thing, you're excommunicated. And that's just not how human beings work. Nobody is perfect. But ultimately, what we have to do here is figure out how to bring people back in and work towards the bigger goal of advancing the future of this country and helping young people especially get by so that they're able to focus on their lives and, you know, getting with a young woman or something like that, instead of how are they going to pay their rent, for example, or how are they working their two jobs. Young people should be able to focus on what young people should be focused on, which is how to get laid and how to go and have fun.
So big round of applause from the audience there. I don't think he was totally off the mark when he talks about the Democrats being very judgmental because they have this ideology that's at its core exclusionary. You know, if you say the wrong thing or if you don't conform to their ideology on inclusion, this radical inclusion for everything, no matter how weird the idea is, you're ousted. I think he got it correct there. But when it comes to when he says young people just want to get laid and have fun, I think he is way, way off the mark. And Charlie Kirk, he did a segment on Fox News where I think he absolutely hit the nail on the head when he was talking about David Hogg and his appearance on Bill Maher. Take a listen.
How nihilistic and also how dismissive of all the concerns that young people are feeling right now. The Democrats the last couple of years, and Hogg is half right about this, they have lost young people, especially young men. When I go to these college campuses, though, they don't just want to have more degeneracy or debauchery. They're looking for something greater, something higher. They're in the pursuit of something good and true and beautiful. Remember, if you're on a college campus right now, the very young people that we at Turning Point USA are winning over, large in part thanks to President Trump, you suffered under the lies and the deception of COVID, of wearing a mask while you shower, of the 9th booster shot, of the hyper-policing of every pronoun and every syllable that you say. And they want something greater than that, not something darker and something that is rooted in a cynical worldview. And David Hogg is so dismissive of young people that want to have a mission, that want to have meaning, that don't just want to pursue what makes them feel good, but instead young people increasingly want to do good. This is also why we're seeing young people go back to church. According to Axios, a story just a couple days ago, church attendance is going up large in part thanks to young Gen Z men. David.
So Charlie Kirk absolutely nails it right there. I completely agree. I mean, with the Democrats being in power for the past 4 years, I mean, everyone has started to notice that we are being manipulated and people are wanting to find the truth. And plus, I mean, we have so much access to anything we want. I mean, we have instant everything. I know this is kind of a cliche, but you literally have access just in a few seconds, maybe in a few minutes, with depending on like food and whatnot. If you want food, you can microwave it. If you want something on your phone, you can get it just in a couple seconds. I don't think people are worried about just instant pleasure anymore. They're more worried about the long term. What is actually the meaning of life? Like, what should I do with my life? What are my goals? And that is where David Hogg gets it way off the mark. But what's really funny about this is that David Hogg is being ousted because of basically kind of his gender, okay? Because he wasn't properly elected because he is a white man. And this is a Washington Post article that talks about this. DNC panel finds Hogg and another official weren't properly elected to leadership. Committee's vote starts a process that could lead activists ouster from leadership role amid backlash over his plans to support primary challengers to House Democrats. So let's take a little deeper look at this. A Democrat National Committee found that David Hogg and another vice chair were not properly elected this year, setting off a process that could lead to Hogg's ouster amid backlash. The Credentials Committee, so one of these wild committees that the DNC has, will get a vote from the full DNC membership. If approved, the 2 vice chair elections will be invalidated and new elections will be held as practical. The new elections will be limited to the same 5 candidates who were eligible at the February vote. The challenge to the election was filed more than 2 months ago before Hogg's announcement about primary challenges by Kaylin Free, an Oklahoma activist who unsuccessfully sought one of the vice chair slots in February. She argued the DNC broke its rules on gender diversity in party officer elections. So yeah, these are the funny games that the Democrats play. They look at this. They don't just look at your credentials. They say, hey, what gender are you? What color are you? What sex are you? Are you queer? And so they got to have all of these representations of different people. And this is one of the reasons why they are invalidating David Hogg's spot as DNC vice chair. She argued the DNC broke its rules on gender diversity, and this invalidates the election of Hogg and a second vice chair, Malcolm Kenyatta, who I believe is black, but I'm not really sure. But the challenge took on additional significance as Hogg faced criticism from some in the party because of his organization's $20 million effort to primary out-of-touch, ineffective incumbent Democrats. DNC chairman Ken Martin has maintained that the party's officers such as Hogg should stay neutral in primaries. So this, I believe, is the real reason why they want Hogg out, because as soon as he started coming after these safe seats, I don't think these Democrats really appreciated that much, but they might use a excuse as to his gender or inclusivity to push him out. But when it really comes down to it, I think that's the real reason. Quote, this vote was based on how the DNC conducted its officers' elections, which I had nothing to do with. It is also impossible to ignore the broader context of my work to reform the party, which loomed large over this vote, Hogg said in a statement after the committee's recommendation. I ran to be DNC vice chair to help the Democratic Party better, not to defend an indefensible status quo that has caused voters in almost every demographic group to move away from us. The DNC has pledged to remove me, and this vote has provided an avenue to fast-track that effort. In his statement, Hogg noted that other party committees are regularly involved in primaries and that past DNC vice chairs have endorsed candidates in primaries without issues. So that is what's going on. David Hogg is being pushed out, which I guess I didn't really foresee this. But once he started talking about primary safe Democrats, I was like, oh, wow, what a terrible, terrible idea. I actually personally like the idea because that's just good for Republicans. If you lost because your party was too radical with their ideas and you're wanting to even go more radical, I mean, that's only good for conservatives and Republicans. So by all means, I thought it was a fantastic idea that would benefit me. But as far as benefiting the Democrat Party and giving them even a chance of winning again in the near future, I don't think it would help them whatsoever. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about David Hogg being pushed out? What do you think about his comments about young men or young people in general just wanting to get laid and having fun. What do you think about this? Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.